Within the two teams of Jailbreak, I mostly play one, and that team is the police team. If you want to learn exactly how to become rich by only playing on the police team, then you've come to the right video. In this video, I'll be showing you every little tip and trick that I've been learning for the past 7 years. Also, don't worry about having any game passes, because I'll be showing you things that anyone can do. Number 1. It might seem dumb, but your default spawn loadout is perfectly fine for playing the police team. The pistol is one of the best guns in the game, and you always spawn with it. However, for an added level of safety, you could always grab yourself a force field launcher. If you really needed to rely on another gun, get a shotgun. This is the best close range weapon in the game. It's good for the police team because you need to be close to the criminals anyway. Use the shotgun to take their health down and make it easier to arrest. As I said, however, the pistol is completely fine on its own. It's very accurate, and if you have good aim, there's really no need for anything else. Always use the shift lock version when using a weapon. There is literally no benefit to playing unlocked besides losing out on valuable aim. Playing locked allows you to continue aiming at the person even while doing intense movement, which we'll talk about in a second. Also, to avoid criminals from running away even after you tase them, make sure that you always deal enough damage to get them down to a sliver of health. This enables you to catch up to them because they're so slow. It counters their ability to run and spawn a car. If you're finding yourself having trouble with your aim, just keep practicing. If you want an easier way to aim train, I suggest trying out a shooter game. Try playing something like Arsenal, Gunfight Arena, or pretty much any other shooter. That's it for the loadout section. Let's move on. Number 2. When you spawn in the game, you spawn with 4 items. A pistol, which we already talked about, handcuffs, a taser, and road spikes. We're going to talk about the last 2 for now. The taser is basically what makes the cop team so good. The taser is the glue that holds the universe together. Without it, the entire known galaxy would come crumbling down on our... The taser is your best friend while playing police. It stuns players for a considerable amount of time, and they can do absolutely nothing about it. I talked a bit about having good aim with the pistol, and this is the same for the taser. You need good aim to use the taser to its full potential. The small amount of time that the taser gives you is one of the most important aspects of the police team. With the police team, you need to be fast and be able to react quickly. The taser is the most useful thing that the police have, so use it wisely. The last item that the police have are the road spikes. I want to talk very briefly about the best way to use them. Some players just put these in random places, but there are some very good places to use the road spikes. If you're just putting them down to claim someone's bounty by doing nothing, listen carefully. If you want to learn how to use your road spikes more tactically, wait a second. For idle bounty claiming, you need to place them at a high traffic area. I suggest the prison tunnel, preferably the one going to the small town. Another place is the rising city, diagonally between the bank and the curb on the opposite side. This creates a wide area of capture, making sure that no matter what direction the car comes from, it will hit the spikes. The final best place to put your spikes is a very sneaky place, and this is my personal favorite. If you push yourself into the volcano-based gate and place the spikes, you will have just enough length to put down road spikes all the way across. Any farther and it will be too long. Now for the tactical usage of road spikes, if you see a car coming that you think you want to stop, click the spikes and roll at the same time. This will deploy the spikes across the road in the quickest time possible, and will most likely catch the car off guard. Just keep in mind the speed of the car so that you can time it correctly. So that's police items. Now we can move on to cars that you should use. Number 3. If you've ever heard the term roadster cop, there's a reason for it. The reason is that it works. The Roadster is probably one of the best cars to use on either team, but when employed on the police team, it becomes another very useful tool. The Roadster has incredible acceleration and a pretty nice top speed. This is helpful because with police chases, you'll constantly have to get out of your car to try to eject the other person from their car. You can also use the Proto 8. Why? It's pretty much just the Roadster with better handling. While these cars are good, it also comes down to personal preference. A healthy balance of different cars is always good to have, especially if you have mobile garage. So while high acceleration cars are good for police, you can use whatever you want. I like to use the Torpedo mostly because it's pretty much an all-around very good car. Number 4. Movement is probably one of the hardest skills to learn to use correctly. Once you learn how to use movement to your advantage, it becomes pretty easy to arrest people. First is your shift lock movement. Always when in combat, hold your pistol, taser, or handcuffs. This allows you to always face the player without having to hold right click. While in combat, always jump. No matter what, keep jumping. This makes your character harder to land a shot on. If you have enough aim practice, jumping shouldn't mess up your aim, but if you find this hard to do, stop jumping if you need to use your pistol or taser. Jumping doesn't affect your handcuffs at all. No matter how fast you're jumping up and down, as long as you are in handcuff range, you can arrest the person. While doing your jumping, employ a basic side-to-side motion. This throws people off even more. Note that you should use this only while holding handcuffs because you can barely aim with all this going on. A fairly recent movement mechanic that you can use to your advantage is rolling. Rolling has to be one of the best things added to the game. Rolling combos are super fun and helpful when it comes to the cop team. A good example is taking your opponent by surprise by holding your handcuffs, jumping, and then rolling at the same time. Rolling is something that I cannot play Jailbreak without. It's become a necessity for me now. There are so many combos that you can use with rolling. If you don't roll a lot, you should be rolling more. Number 5. In this final segment, I just want to go over some things that police can use to their advantage, or just random little tips that don't fit anywhere else. For one, if you're bounty hunting, always make sure to use the FBI base. Here, you can find people quickly. Pro tip, calculate their probable destination by factoring in which direction they're going, what robberies are open, and their current bounty. Also check the chat. If it looks like they've been robbing a lot and they're grinding, they're probably going to be going to the nearest open robbery. In this clip, I saw that the tomb was open, and I made a guess that he would be going to the tomb. Sure enough, as soon as we got to the tomb, there he was. Some people are discouraged by the payout of arresting criminals. What they don't realize is that on top of the $400 arrest award, you also get a $200 bonus when you receive your paycheck. This can add up if you're in a busy server and arrest a lot of criminals within that day. Another tip is to remember spawns. Criminals will most likely spawn at the criminal base if they die. Nobody ever uses the crater spawn, so count that out. Some people choose to respawn at the volcano, but that's a bit hard to get into if you're a police officer. So for the best chances of arresting a criminal you accidentally killed or who died somehow, check these two places: the city criminal base and the small town. If you want to get really scientific, you can even do a background check on them. If you know who they are, quickly see if they're a VIP or not. If they are a VIP, they have a higher chance of respawning in the small town. If not, they will most likely spawn at the city criminal base. Remember to use pitting as often as possible. If you're in a high-speed chase, constantly pit to slow the other person down. Once they get pitted and almost come to a stop, try to put your car in front and block their escape. Then employ all of your other tools to get them out and arrested. Black Hawk missiles are also very helpful. If you find yourself in a Black Hawk, there are some neat tricks that you can use to stop a car. First is a simple one. Use the mouse-controlled missiles to disable the car. Each hit does 60 damage. Position your mouse just above the car so that you can account for the car moving forward. Second, you can use the huge size of the Black Hawk to trap cars. If you drop your heli straight down, you can create a quick blockade and arrest the criminal. Keep in mind this works best in confined spaces, so make sure to use it in the rising city rather than out in the open. Always try to stay where the robberies are. If the Crater City robberies are open, drive around in there. Pretty simple, but not a lot of people use this to their advantage. Next, this is a pretty common glitch that's used, but I want to talk about it anyway. If you get your vehicle under the cargo plane and jump out at just the right time, you can no-clip into the plane. If you let criminals think they got away and jump into the plane while they least expect it, you pretty much get free arrests. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about camping. Personally, I do not like when people camp. I think it takes the strategy and planning that would normally be necessary for the police team and throws that all out the window. People who camp have basically no skills. They are the Edgar Mains of Jailbreak. In all honesty, I don't care. Cops camp in real life whether you like it or not. It can just get a bit annoying. Whether you camp or not, I hope you found this guide helpful. I'm going to leave a link to some games that will help you get better at your aim. If you found this guide helpful or entertaining at all, don't forget to subscribe. We're super close to having 2,000 HipG fans, so make sure to subscribe for future videos. If you're still here, thank you so much. I know this is kind of a long video, but it's a collection of pretty much all my Jailbreak knowledge. So thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.